Suddenly, after 12 years of working with Oleksandr Usyk, promoter Oleksandr Krasiuk announced that they are ending their cooperation. From now on, the two-time undisputed world champion will move forward without K2 Promotions and will enter the fight against Daniel Dubois either representing another company or as a free agent. What exactly happened? How does Krasiuk comment on the situation? What led up to this? And what can both sides expect next? This is a quick response to a major development in Ukrainian boxing. Krasiuk began working with Usyk in 2013, following the Olympics and the World Series of Boxing. At that time, Oleksandr was supposed to sign a contract with Top Rank, traveled to the U.S. along with Lomachenko, but in America, our cruiserweight was offered unacceptable terms. That's when he signed with the domestic company run by the Klitschko brothers, managed by Oleksandr Krasiuk. Being Usyk's promoter isn't as simple as it might seem. On one hand, you're working with an Olympic champion. In theory, great starting conditions. On the other, Usyk was fighting early in his career in Brovary, at Arena Lviv, and at the Kiev Palace of Sports. You kind of want more, especially when your friend is also an Olympic champion fighting on top-ranked cards in the U.S. Krasiuk's task was to make Usyk a world champion within 3 years. He delivered on time. Usyk took the WBO title from Krzysztof Glowacki, and since then, he hasn't fought at home. His career took off. We won't get into every detail now, just a few highlights. Usyk became a cruiserweight world champion, then a unified champion in that division, then Super Series winner, and finally the undisputed cruiserweight champion. Phenomenal. And then came the real challenge, God level. He became heavyweight champion under 3 sanctioning bodies, twice beat Tyson Fury, and reached undisputed status. Don't downplay the boxer's achievements. It's his story. He created it. But always by his side was Oleksandr Krasiuk, who as a promoter handled all matters with Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, and many others. As for Frank Warren, I think he's a bloodsucker who drained a lot from the team and personally from Krasiuk. However, the relationship between Usyk and Krasiuk was never simple. Sometimes, this even became public knowledge. Before the fight with Kazora, Usyk's camp had issues with the gloves. They seemed uncomfortable. There were also concerns about the ring. The day before the fight, Usyk felt the ring was simply too small. For a high-mobility fighter, that matters. No changes were made before the fight, and Usyk didn't stay silent. He spoke about it in an interview on his own YouTube channel. It just hit me. Well, that's the essence of what you're saying. What complaints are there with K2 or whatever? You know why? It's these little things, gloves, the ring, when a person should be fighting for me, not trying to please everyone, especially the other side. That's why I took a step back from him. All my guys, my team, they go all in and not everyone likes them. Sometimes I'm told, man, they're kind of rough. But they're like that because they want to do better for me. If things are better for me, they're better for them. And they don't care about the noise around them. They're on my side. They go hard for that. Sure, someone is always complaining about them. But I love it. I go up to them afterward, hug them, and say, brothers, thank you for your work. They take the dirt for me. You know how I generally see it? Let's show everyone how good things are with us. And when we get home, let's figure out how to fix what's bad. The important thing is to make sure home is good. What others think, that's their problem. I want to live by the English principle. They make things good for themselves, and if others want it too, well, then go make it good for yourself. We're doing things for ourselves. So these situations with the gloves, the ring, and all that, it's all made up of little things. Nothing comes from something big. Minus, minus, minus. And in the end, what? A huge minus. Plus, plus, plus. And in the end, what? A huge plus. These were signs that not everything inside was always good. If Usyk decided to speak about this publicly, then in certain moments of their cooperation, he was really boiling over. I've heard that at certain points in Usyk's career, he and Krasiuk could go for months without speaking. Not during fight camps, just in general. But it happened, because at times they clashed. The moment of culmination may have arrived following Oleksandr Usyk's first bout with Anthony Joshua in London. At that time, The cooperation between Usyk and K2 Promotions was nearing its natural conclusion. Theoretically, that was a logical juncture at which both parties could have ended their professional relationship. In truth, up until the very end, there remained uncertainty about how their story would unfold. Yet eventually, Oleksandr Krasiuk announced that they had decided to continue working together. What happened next is well known. Usyk became the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. On the night of June 21st, Oleksandr Krasiuk made an official statement that their cooperation was coming to an end. It was an incredible journey. 12 years of extraordinary success. Two young dreamers joined forces back in 2013 to change the face of the sport. I gave you my word, and I kept it. At that time, no one believed we could achieve what we had envisioned. But by the grace of God, we completed an impossible mission. The milestones we reached together included September 2016, WBO Cruiserweight World Champion. January 2018, Unified WBO and WBC Cruiserweight Champion. July 2018, Undisputed Cruiserweight World Champion. September 2021, Unified WBO, WBA, and IBF Heavyweight World Champion. May 2024, Undisputed Heavyweight World Champion. The dream became reality. Thank you for everything we experienced together. It is an honor for me to be the lifetime promoter of a two-time undisputed world champion. May God bless you and guide your next steps. Praise be to God for everything. I would like to draw attention to the term lifetime promoter. This implies a promoter who has been with the athlete throughout the entirety of their professional journey. I interpret this to mean that we are unlikely to see Oleksandr Usyk align with another promoter going forward. What is particularly striking is the abrupt nature of this decision. It came right in the middle of the build-up to the rematch with Daniel Dubois. During the first press conference for that fight, Krasiuk was still performing his usual duties, including acting as a translator. However, the official promotional materials for the Usyk vs. Dubois 2 fight featured the logo of Usyk's company, Ready to Fight, but notably omitted the K2 Promotions logo. And this is despite the fact that K2 had been an integral part of Usyk's journey, the company tasked with representing his interests and participating in the promotion of his bouts. And so, roughly 1 month before the scheduled fight, we learned that the two would no longer be working together. Most likely, this is not the result of a dramatic rupture, but rather the natural conclusion of their prior agreement. They simply chose this moment to make the news public. To date, we have not seen a public reaction from Usyk himself. After 12 years of close, collaborative, and productive cooperation, one would expect at least a statement, a comment, or words of appreciation directed toward Oleksandr Krasiuk. As for the potential reasons behind this split, we can only speculate. One side, a highly skilled and influential promoter within Ukrainian boxing. The other, a once-in-a-generation athlete, a boxing phenomenon Ukraine has never seen before. It seems entirely plausible that a fighter of Usyk's caliber may have outgrown the need for a traditional promoter. Typically, a promoter's role is to elevate a boxer's profile and increase their market value. However, Usyk, as a two-time undisputed world champion, has already reached legendary status. Does such a fighter even require a promoter anymore? I am not convinced. Consider the paths taken by other elite boxers. Terence Crawford, for instance, changed promoters multiple times and renegotiated contracts. Canelo Alvarez has alternated between working with promoters and representing himself. His brand is so strong that promotional support has become optional. In Usyk's case, the situation appears similar. Naturally, this situation raises the question of money. Could financial matters have played a role in the decision? It is rumored that Usyk's purse for the rematch with Dubois could exceed $100 million. Personally, I find that figure questionable. The source of the claim lacks credibility, and frankly, the Tyson Fury fight likely generated more revenue and media attention. Tyson Fury is a major draw, a personality around whom one can build a blockbuster event. Dubois, on the other hand, presents a less captivating storyline. The bout appears less competitive on paper, And as a result, I believe the actual earnings will fall short of what some media outlets are suggesting. That said, we are still likely talking about enormous sums, potentially in the ballpark of $100 million. And from that, the promoter typically receives a commission. Promoter fees generally range from 10 to 15%. In certain cases, particularly when dealing with figures like Don King or especially aggressive negotiators, that percentage could be as high as 20% or more. I have no insider knowledge of the exact percentage taken by K2 Promotions. It is important to note that this money does not go directly into Krasiuk's pocket. He acts as a representative of K2 Promotions, a company owned by the Klitschko brothers. As such, they would also be entitled to a share of the earnings from their role as Usyk's promoters. What I can say for certain is that there were always indications that the relationship between Usyk and Krasiuk was not as flawless as it may have appeared to the public. Behind the scenes, there were tensions and periods of silence. So the next question is, what lies ahead? What is next for Oleksandr Usyk? And what is next for Oleksandr Krasiuk? For Usyk, the situation is relatively straightforward. His fight has been confirmed for some time. He will step into the ring without a promoter, a scenario that is far from unusual in the world of boxing. What happens afterward remains to be seen. If he wishes to defend his titles further, he may not require external promotional support. As noted earlier, Usyk may simply declare himself his own promoter. If K2 Promotions were to sign another promising Ukrainian boxer in the near future, given Krasiuk's standing in the boxing community and his extensive connections, any young fighter would be fortunate to join his stable. Krasiuk is widely respected for his professionalism, his accessibility, and his ability to place fighters on prestigious fight cards. From my perspective, he has done exceptional work over the past 12 years. I sincerely hope that Usyk and Krasiuk part ways with mutual appreciation and respect. These are two towering figures in the world of boxing, one within the ring and the other guiding from outside it. Keep following us for the latest boxing news.